Amen. Dan maar in a few minutes in Mikach Isha Mikach Yaakov Isha in nice case Yaakov Avinu take as a wife from the daughters of Ches. There was in Morocco. There happened to be a very Balkari and a Chazan who had a magnificent voice with beautiful nigunim for davening and for Kriyas HaTorah. It was very magnificent to listen to. And they called up, by Kriyas HaTorah, they called up a very gifted Talmud Chacham, had a bright future in front of him to sit and learn and really to grow to great heights in Torah. But of course, he, in order for him to devote his life to Torah, he would need have to marry into a home that are a family of means, that the father could support him to sit and devote his study to Torah, his days and nights to Torah study. So when the Balkari, the very gifted Balkari, a very beautiful Torah reader, was reading the Torah, so he said here on the pasuk, Yikach Yaakov Isha Midnos Ches, he said Midnos Teis. From the Ches, from the mistake, he said a Teis. So this young Talmud Chacham, Torah scholar, he corrected him. He said Midnos Ches. So after he finished the Aliyah, so he said to him jokingly, he says, I have 9 daughters to marry off. And in order for me to get really a son-in-law that I would want, I'd be proud of, a Torah scholar, he said, I'd have to have the means to support him. He says, and I'm really, I'm poverty-stricken, so he said to him jokingly, if you'll take, I have 9 daughters, if you'll take one of my daughters, nice taste, I have 9 daughters, so I'll have only Ches, I'll have only 8 daughters left. So this young Torah scholar said to him, you have a name in the community as very, a character supreme, with integrity, and the conduct in your house. He says, money can't really buy something like that. He said, to marry into a home like that, he says, that's really something. He said, he went on and on, how he's, what it would mean to marry a daughter or somebody, a child from a house like that, to raise a family of children that'll be with golden characters. He said he agreed to the shidduch. He got married and he became a tremendous Torah leader. Yaakov Avinu, he was sitting at home and he was cooking with a very special aroma. He was cooking a lentil soup, Nezira Doshim. Esav came in after a full day of hunting, famished, starving to death practically, and he smelled these lentils, the soup. My goodness, his heart went out. He wanted to have it the worst way. So he asked Yaakov Avinu. He said he would like to partake in that soup. He said, you know what? We'll make a deal. He says, you're the eldest son, so you have the birthright, the bechora. So he says, you sell me your birthright, and I'll give you this. He said, what do I need the birthright for? He said, I'm going to leave this world. He said, it doesn't mean anything, it has no value to me. Here! So the Torah tells us that not only did he give him a wholesome bowlful of lentil soup, but he also gave him lechem unezira doshim. He also gave him bread also. He was something he wanted to give him only lentils. Why did he have the bread? In Shulchan Aruch, in Halacha, there's a din like this. If someone is a nirdaf, if someone is being pursued, someone wants to inflict danger, wants to kill him, so he's running away, and if he finds some way to rescue himself from death, because of Parshas, like for instance, he sees a boat is about to depart, and they might even want to take advantage of him. They see that he has to get on that boat, and so they tell him. They said, "Yeah, okay, we'll take you. A ticket has to cost way." They give him a price way more outrageous, way more than the regular price. So if he says, "Yes, okay, I'll pay you," and then when he gets on the boat, the thing is that he doesn't have to pay that outrageous price. He took advantage of him. It's because of Parshas, to save his life. He can do anything. There's nothing that stands above the value of human life. So he just has to pay him the regular fee of a... Yaakov Avinu, he looked into the deal that he's making with Esau. So Esau, who came in starving from hunger, so Esau might say, later on he said, the deal is off. He said, I was starving to death. So I made the deal because I had some kind of nourishment, otherwise I would have left this world. So what did Yaakov Avinu do? He first gave him lechem, he first gave him some bread. And that should restore his soul. Once his soul restored, he wasn't in the position anymore of going in Parshas. He already had back his health somewhat. And so when he gave him the Nazir Adoshim, that was a regular, legitimate sale. He wasn't a scalper in any way. In conclusion, this very dramatic story of how Yaakov Avinu dressed like an imposter to seem to touch, to feel like his hairy brother Esau. And they follow all the developments, how it seems at first that Yaakov Avinu, that Yitzchak, when Yaakov appeared before him, so there's no reason for him, he didn't suspect that he was an imposter. And then he said to him, he said, "Come closer." All of a sudden, there was some kind of doubt in his mind as to really if this is Yaakov or Esau or Yaakov. So he told him, "Come closer," and he says, "Let me feel you," because he knew his son Esau had lost his sight. Yitzchak, he knew Esau was very hairy, and Yaakov was not. So he said, "Come closer and let me feel you." So he submitted to the groping hands of Yitzchak, and he felt him, and he said, "Yadayim," he said, "Hakoyel kol Yaakov." The voice is the voice of Jacob, of Yaakov Avinu. By Yadayim midei Esau, the hands are the hands of Esau. In other words, the hand, the way he put on a furry dress, furry lining on his hands, it passes as Esau. But he said, but the voice is the voice of Yaakov. If the voice is the voice of Yaakov, why didn't he at first, when he came in, they spoke, if you look in the Psukim, they spoke at length. And so why didn't he at first have any suspicion? Why did he suspect that was Yaakov, not Esau? Because it's like the Ebenezer says, that many times, if he wasn't Esau, he had a different voice. But the Ebenezer says that many times by twins, they both have identical voices. So by voice alone, actually the tone of the voice sounded the same as Esau. But then, in the conversation, so he asked Yaakov Avinu, he says, "How did you get so quickly to bring before me such a delicacy?" So he said, he implied the name of the Rabbi Shalom. So Hashem, he said, Hashem had made this happen in front of me. So Yitzchak thought, just a minute. He said, my son Esau, he never uses expressions like that. Shem Shamayim Shomer Lafiv, that he should use an expression like that, refer to that the Almighty conducts the world. He said, that's not Esau. That's what he meant. Yadayim Yaday Esau. The hands are the hands of Esau. But the koil, not the voice, but the message that he said was the message like Yankov Avinu, to speak with your Shemayim, with fear of the Rebbeinu Shalom. I mentioned before, because we were talking about the education of children, how his father went to jail with Mesiras Nefesh. He was in Moldavia, in Russia, at the age of 4 or 5. They risked their lives to have a Rabbi for him to teach Kasriel in Russia. So there were always spies, and they kept under surveillance the house. They discovered that they're having a man of learning come in and teach their child. So he arrested his father, put him in jail. Look how fortunate he was that he was arrested for something like that, not for swindling and not for breaking any laws of the country. He was arrested because he wanted his son to tell him the story that the parents, unfortunately, the child's Jewish education means nothing. All of a sudden, when he turns 12 and a half, they must have that nachas. Their child has to have a bar mitzvah. So they cram it in, the most boring thing to rehearse Torah and the Torah reading. If their son has a son by the Torah, you have to call him to the Torah. On his 13th birthday should be called to the Torah. They can't go through life like that. So they subject them to such boring and tedious lessons. They come to a Hebrew school, a Sunday school, a Shanda school, and he said, one young lad, when all the other children are outside playing ball and basketball, having a good time, he has to go for confirmation lessons. So he turns to the rabbi in this Reform temple. He says to him, Rabbi, he says, I don't really think I want to continue with these lessons, with these confirmation lessons, because I don't really believe in God. He said, what's confirmation lessons got to do with believing in God? I don't believe in God either. That's a rabbi. Chalim ben Akai Shomer. What's a Kosh Baruch Zakei says Yisrael, Lefikov, Kiblam Torah Mitzvahs, Shnemar. Adonai Chovetz Man Fishbain. Rabbi's cut. Long cut.